Hello there, this is Water Fiction here, and today I'm going to do the last of my videos for Channel Friday, and this is the 7 eras of cartoons. Now, you might have a difference in opinions, in my personal opinion of course, but you might have a difference in opinion, and you might say, hey, what would these eras, just say, hey, if you think about these cartoons in this era fit this kind of other era thing, and just do this and that. I'll definitely take into consideration, But right now, this is from what I know, in my personal opinion, the 7 eras of cartoons. This is for Frederator's 2018 or any year tag thing. Yep. The first era is the silent era. From roughly the 1890s to 1927, they were in black and white, and they were silent. Now, if you know, some cartoons might have from that era, might have music in the background, especially like if you watch on like TV or on like YouTube or whatever you might use. You might hear music, but that's because they probably put it in post. Like, if I remember correctly, they usually have like a theater screen thing, and because it was on a theater, and the person in the background would actually play the piano when the scenes would be acted out or whatever, and that's how you get the music from. The music was actually from a guy playing on the piano when the music was playing, which gotta be fun. Like when people want to see multiple shows, they probably didn't, because back in those days they didn't have enough money to do that. But they probably, if somebody was really rich and they wanted to, they'd be like, okay, Sorry. But now the example I used was, it's kind of this weird cartoon series. I remember hearing about it, kind of, sort of. Whenever I watched a couple cartoons episodes, it was really weird. It was called Cats and Jammer Kids. Very interesting cartoon series, and yeah, that's the example I used for this one. Now the next one is the black and white era. Now I know you might be thinking, wait, if the silent era is in black and white era is in black and white, why is it called the one big black and white era? The reason I separate them for is because, scientists, because I use this thing scientists separate fish into 2 or 3 main groups. Ignathans, which are your jawless fish like your eels, chondrichthyes, which are your cartilaginous fish like sharks, and oxyicthyes, which are your bony fish like your goldfish. And so it's 3 separate groups. They're similar because they're all fish, but they're 3 separate groups of fish. So here I have the silent cartoons, and now I have the black and white cartoons. Silent era of cartoons and the black and white era of cartoons. The black and white era of cartoons ran from 1928 to 1931. They were, of course, in black and white, and this time they actually had sound. The first cartoon to actually have sound, of course, was Steamboat Willie. That's the first one to ever have sound, or synchronized sound. I think somebody said that there was a cartoon beforehand that had sound, but it wasn't really synced up, really. Walt Disney, of course, he really did a lot for that era. He did a lot for cartoons. The example I use is Scrappy. It's another weird kind of cartoon. It's about a young boy and his dog and his little brother, and the antics they get into. And now my next era is the Slapstick era. It technically occurred around 1932 to roughly the 1940s. These cartoons were notable because of actually introducing the concept of color. Now, I don't know if they still use it today. They might, but I know back in the day they had a 3-color process called Technicolor. Technicolor was the big thing back in the day. It was how you get color cartoons, it's Technicolor. That's why you see like a lot of cartoon shows like, now produced by Technicolor. Like, ooh, cool, it was like the big thing, back in the day. And the majority of the cartoons had what was called cartoon violence, a pan hitting the face of the character, a character walking off a cliff but not falling down until he looks down and he has a posable sign that says, uh-oh, a character chasing another character through a color that the original character painted, but the other character goes through while the original character does not. And of course the infamous duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season, rabbit season, duck season, duck season, duck season, fire, and stuff like that, An example I use is Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry was my favorite cartoon of the Slapstick era, mainly because Jerry was cute. He was cool. He was awesome. He was kind of an interesting character. You know, I mean, you can't really, I don't think you can really hate Jerry Mouse, or not like Jerry Mouse at the very least. He's a very lovable character, you know? It's just what he is, you know? He's lovable. He's cute. He's cool. He's awesome. Okay? The next era is the establishment era. Made during like the 1950s and 1970s. This was during the time of the Cold War. Now, there was a time when there was a big will they, won't they on the two major sides of this war, the Cold War of America and Russia. You know, it was the big, you know, will the other side strike first? That was a big question. Like, or won't they strike first? You know, that was the big, huge question. And you can tell that like a lot of things that the government did to secure themselves really kind of showed. There's something they did to secure themselves, and also because basically out of fear of what might happen, it kind of affected like the present day, like people of the present day generations and even later generations after these eras. Now, a lot of the cartoons in this era are group or family oriented. You know, if you watch the Flintstones or the Jetsons, you kind of get what I mean. Now, the example I use is Scooby-Doo, Where Are You? Because it dealt with a group of kids and the dog, basically the dog, his owner, and their best friends, solving mysteries like the monster is really Old Man Withers, and he would all be like, "And I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you meddling kids," or whatever, you know. And so, well, how was that again? Oh yeah, so you have how like that, and they are kind of a good group. You can also argue that they're family oriented because they try to stick together even through like this thick and thin kind of thing. You know, now the next era is the action era. Yeah, it's made during roughly the 1980s, which is funny because I was actually born in 1988. And so, well, I was born in the fall of 1988. So while I love to consider myself an 80s kid, you know, I really can't because I could consider myself an 80s infant, you know, because I was 1 year old at 89. But mostly a 90s kid. Yeah, but I'll get to 90s in a little bit in a second. Here the characters were heavily action-packed, like, yeah, you know. The heroes were badasses, you know. They took charge, they took names, yeah, you know. And they had a lot of good rock and roll intros. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye, and G.I. Joe and stuff like that. You know, it was really to get you pumped up and action-packed, yeah. The example I use is Thundercats, the original series. That was a really cool show. You know, it was interesting too, just how like the plot and the concept and stuff like that. And I went online. There were a couple shows after Thundercats that tried from like people who created Thundercats to try to recreate that feel, and it didn't work. Like to me personally, it didn't really work because Thundercats was like the pride and joy. I hate to say it, the magnum opus, you know. And well, yeah, you know. Of course, there was also other shows, so like He-Man and stuff like that, which really kind of had this unique look and feel to them. The next era, like I said before, is the Radical Era. Here, it's during the around roughly the 1990s, which I grew up in the 1990s, so I'm more of like a 90s kid, you know. Now, I'm not going to say whether or not they succeeded or failed or whatever, or whether or not they succeeded, but the two cartoons in this era, they either try to be cool or hip, like Goof Troop, you know, over to the Goof Troop, like, you know, baggy pants, cool, hip, backwards cap, you know, or they try to be funny, you know, like Animaniacs, Hysteria. They try to be funny. I remember Hysteria when I was growing up, and I used to love that show. It's funny because I can't find it at all. You know, I would love to get that. You know, like Hysteria. You know, because the characters, you know, Lyle Ludington, Big Fat Baby, Father Time, Acapella. I think there's I can't remember his name enough, but he was basically voicing a frog or a toad to get a frog in his mouth or a frog in his throat kind of thing. So he had that low, deep voice. I can't do his voice right now. But yeah, he was like that, you know. But now the example, but yeah, I gotta find it again. The video would be kind of cool. Sorry. The next era, what I use for example is Tiny Toon Adventures. You know, with Babs and Buster Bunny and how they and their friends Plucky Duck, Hampton Pig, Go-Go, Furball, Elmira, Duff, Montana Max, how they would do what they had to do, you know. And what's funny is actually for the longest time, I had a couple other people in my family, my brothers, my cousins, all thought that Elmira was supposed to be based upon Granny, and Montana was supposed to be based upon Elmer. But then I actually looked it up, and actually no, Elmira was based upon Elmer, which kind of makes sense because Elmer wants to hunt down and kill animals. Elmira wants to hunt down and hug animals. They both have the same terrifying effect, in accordance to the cartoons. And of course, Montana Max is based on Yosemite Sam, which kind of makes sense because both of them are greedy characters. What's really interesting though is finding out that Buster and Babs Bunny are actually both based upon Bugs Bunny. I think Buster's based upon his comedic, I think it was, and then Babs was supposed to be based upon his disguising thing. It's supposed to be they both represent that aspect of him. And yeah, it's called the Radical Era because people try to be radical, you know. And I know another good cartoon, which I actually is funny. I never really heard about it, and then I heard people actually talk about it. I've seen it online, so I gave it a little try. It's called a couple of episodes. Disney's Adventures of the Gummy Bears. That's actually really kind of cute. Really kind of cute series. So yep. And of course, the last era is the acceptance era. This is from roughly 2000s to the present day. They focus on diversity and acceptance, and they are heavily open-minded. I mean, you have Steven Universe, which has the character Garnet, who is essentially it's the lesbian relationship between Ruby and Sapphire, that they are together. That shows that their love for each other. In the Loud House, you have a character called Clyde McBride. He has two fathers in the show. And even Star was supposed to be evil. Sorry. They have the main character of Star starts questioning why are monsters treated differently than the rest of the citizens of Muni. And she tries to unite the two groups together, saying, "Hey, why are the monsters considered separate from them? What makes a monster a monster, and why are they separate from us?" You know. And, you know, I think it's supposed to be based. You think about a lot of the Muni's treatment of the monsters is based upon the Trail of Tears, and because of Muni Penance Day. And of course, segregation, when you find out that the monsters are supposed to be separate, or put in separate groups from the citizens of Moody. And she wants, basically, her asking of why shows that she's very open-minded, and that she accepts the fact that they can very well be her friends and companions. I mean, we look at Buff Frog. At first, he was a bad guy, like a villain to Star and Marco, but then he kind of shows a softer side when he gets fired by Ludo in the first season. And so he, he does kind of befriend the group, and they know that he's nice, and they know that Ludo was kind of being controlled by Toffee and stuff like that, so it's like, so she's very much open and accepting of these things, Now, the example I use is the example of, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. Mainly because, you have the three main pony characters. You have flying ponies, you have magical ponies, you have ponies that are tuned to the earth. You have the alicorns, which can do whatever they want. It's like, okay, they're like the gods of the world, But anyway, so what I think is amazing though is not only is there a diverse cast of characters within the show, even like not only the three main groups, but also with the personality types and all the personalities of the characters, But it's the fact that when it first came on, like I remember hearing about it, like the father would hear the little girl be like, Daddy, please, can I watch the show, please? And he's like, okay, fine, click. And he's like, hear the thing, my little pony. And then all of a sudden they hear, oh, my little pony. And they're like, whoa, okay, this is an interesting show. And they actually start liking it, and they go on like messenger forums like 4chan, Reddit, 4chan, and whatnot. And they type in, hey guys, you have got to watch My Little Pony Friendship and Magic. It is a cool show. It's an awesome show. You'll love it. I saw it with my daughter because she wanted to watch it, but I fell in love with it. And the guy's like, really? Yeah, well, I think we're going to watch a little girl show and be all like, ooh, this is a cute show. So they turn it on, click. Let's see how good it is. And they hear, my little pony, my little pony. And my little pony. I used to wonder what friendship could be. And all of a sudden, they're like, whoa, this is a good show. This is a really cool show. And it just spreads like wildfire. It opens the door to so many different possibilities. Now, what's really interesting is the fact that you think what Hasbro could have easily said, yeah, this is a show for little girls. We don't want little boys or full-grown men or full-grown women watching this show at all. But instead of doing it that way, they decided, you know what? We're intrigued by this. We are going to put stuff in the show that the adult fans of other shows would recognize and go, oh yes, we love it. And they made it inclusive for everybody to enjoy. And now because of that, now we have the Brony community. We have the female version of it, Pegasisters. Unless this Brony is like an all-around term now. I'm not sure anymore. I don't really know. Really. And also you have like Brony cons and stuff like that, and it just shows how accepting they were. Not only is the show, not only are they accepting in the show, but it's the fact that the characters or the writers themselves were very accepting. They, instead of looking at like a full-grown man watching My Little Pony and be like, really? They were like, that's awesome. That's so cool. We gotta promote this more, And so they pretty much did. And that is it for this video. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And because this is for Channel Federator's thing with 2018 year, I should really say that Federator loves you.